For anyone looking to build a new gaming PC, finding the best gaming motherboard is a crucial, often overlooked step. You could already have a gaming rig set up, but want to take advantage of a new gen CPU and need one of the latest motherboards to go with it. Looking for the best AMD motherboard specifically? Either way, finding the best motherboards out there can be incredibly difficult. And for some, the terminology and fear of getting compatibility issues can stop people in their tracks. But here we are to solve this problem for you. We have listed the top 5 motherboards and their key features, plus the things you need to consider to help you choose the best one for you. Links to all the products mentioned in the video are in the description below. You could also find a more detailed analysis and a comparison tool on our website, guidinggear.com. Number 5. ROG Strix B550F Gaming Wi-Fi. B550 motherboards are supposed to be cheaper than AMD's X570 platform, and the ROG Strix B550F Gaming is a fine example. Selling for under $200, you can get quite a few features along with a premium looking design with fancy RGB lighting. The motherboard comes with 14-phase power delivery, dual M.2 slots, a 2.5 gigabits per second Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6 with AX, and Bluetooth, along with 4 DIMM slots DDR4 memory that can be clocked at 4400 MHz. The primary PCIe X16 slot sports Gen 4, as does one of the 2 M.2 slots. The board also comes with 6 SATA ports, while the rear I/O includes a total of 8 USB ports, 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1, and 2 USB 2.0. Apart from the 2.5 GB ELAN port and dual antenna connections for Wi-Fi, there are also HDMI and DisplayPort video outputs and standard 5-plug analog audio outputs plus SPDIF. Additionally, it can handle overclocking and should remain stable with the right set of cooling hardware. Number 4. MSI MEG Z690 Mortar Wi-Fi DDR4. This MSI MEG Z690 Mortar Wi-Fi DDR4 sacrifices some of the luxuries, yet still touts an impressive feature set. Not only are you looking at a great power design, but this little micro ATX board manages to fit 8 USB ports on the back panel and a bunch of internal headers on the board itself. There's no overclocking capability or DDR5 support here, but seeing as it's one of the more affordable routes, makes sense to go down with the DDR4 path. One obvious thing missing from the feature list is the support for PCIe 5.0 graphics card. Although seeing as no such cards currently exist, that's not the miss that you might think. Everything else is present and correct though, including a reinforced X16 PCIe 4.0 slot for the GPU, another full-length slot running at X4, and then a final short X1 PCIe 3.0 slot. The fact that you get a pair of PCIe 4.0 M.2 slots for your drives will be plenty for most users too. You also get 2.5 GB per second networking, courtesy of Realtek, and Wi-Fi 6 support from Intel. Your top Z690 board offered 10 GB per second LAN and Wi-Fi 6E, but for that purpose, that is another one of those luxuries you can afford to ignore. When it comes to performance, the switch from DDR4 to DDR5 doesn't make a huge difference. If you're talking stock CPU performance, the same can be said for the switch from Z690 to B660. The 14-phase power design is configured so the V-core itself gets 12 phases and combined with 60 A stages. There is, however, a drop in gaming performance with the B660 boards we've tested so far, so this chipset may not be the perfect option for a gaming PC if you're aiming to squeeze the absolute most from your components. It has to be said though that the difference is slight and only really noticeable with a super high-end GPU and CPU combination, and even then only at 1080p. Number 3. MSI MEG Z690I Unify. MSI's MEG Z690I Unify comes loaded with features including 3 M.2 sockets, 4 SATA ports, the latest generation flagship audio, Thunderbolt 4 ports, and integrated Wi-Fi 6E in this diminutive package. Its only real downside is that you'll find just 6 USB-A ports on the back. The compact black motherboard packs a punch both with the hardware that comes with it, and in our testing, performance easily matched larger ATX boards overall. There's lots of competition in the Z690 Mini-ITX space from all the major motherboards maker. But for its price, the MSI MEG Z690I Unify has the most features and connectivity users are likely to look for in a small form factor board, making it the best option for those looking to build a small but powerful 12th gen Intel Alder Lake rig. Number 2. ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming Wi-Fi 2. If you're choosing one that strikes a delicate balance between performance and price for AMD fans, it would be the ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming Wi-Fi 2. AMD's Ryzen generation of processors is dominating Intel, and the best motherboard for you from ASUS is a perfect match. This isn't the most capable AMD motherboard, but you likely won't require all the additional features that come with splashing out on the most premium motherboards around. AMD has used the AM4 platform since Ryzen launched in 2017, and the X570 is the latest high-end chipset from the company. This platform will support not only Ryzen 3000 processors, but also the new 5000 series too. It's possible to install up to a maximum of 128GB RAM using the 4 DIMM slots provided, though the likelihood of you requiring any more than 32GB is a stretch since only intensive workstations that handle huge files need such large amounts. The rear port selection is pretty good for 2022 too. ASUS included DisplayPort and HDMI, Optical S PDIF out, 2.5GB LAN, Wi-Fi, 7 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports, as well as an additional USB 3.2 Gen 2 USB-C port. You can easily hook up all your favorite gaming accessories and then some. You've also got RGB connectors, pump headers for water cooling, 2 M.2 slots, plenty of SATA, and enough PCIe slots to install all your favorite sound cards. It's not a budget motherboard, but you do get a lot of money here. And because it's using AMD's latest chipset, you'll be able to take advantage of PCIe 4.0. Number 1. Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro. At around $330, the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro is a mid-range Alder Lake motherboard that covers all the bases very well with minimal sacrifices. There are ample storage options, included 4 M.2 sockets, updated audio, and a new appearance. In our extensive testing, performance, thermals, and overclocking were also well within the range of other Z690 boards we've tested. Between its 13 USB ports in the rear I/O, 4 M.2 sockets, and capable power delivery, all at a price that's well below flagship options, there's a lot of love about the Z690 Aorus Pro. So long as you don't require integrated RGB lighting or Wi-Fi 6E out of the box, the Gigabyte Z690 Aorus Pro is an excellent Alder Lake motherboard to build your Z690 system around. Buying guide. When it comes down to choosing a gaming motherboard, you'll want to find one that can do everything you want, whether that be overclocking your processor or having multiple M.2 slots for the fastest solid-state drives. But let's quickly go back to the most basic thing you should look for when buying a motherboard: chipsets. Intel and AMD processors are designed to work with a variety of tiered chipsets. The highest-end Intel motherboards will feature a Z690 chipset that supports the latest Intel 12th generation processors with native 802.11ac Wi-Fi and USB 3.2 Gen 2 connectivity and up to 24 PCIe lanes. Just below that, you'll find a Z370 chipset that is nearly identical to the Z390 chipset, except it lacks the native 802.11ac Wi-Fi and USB 3.1 Gen 2 support. With H370 motherboard, Intel CPUs will only have access to 20 PCIe lanes, losing the ability to overclock. Next up is the Intel B360 chipset, which drops the number of PCIe lanes to 12. Lastly, the Intel H310 chipsets only support 6 PCIe lanes. AMD motherboards mostly follow the same tiered system, except you'll be able to overclock your CPU on almost any motherboard. The highest end chipset is X570, and it complicates things by having PCIe 4.0 lanes that support twice the bandwidth of PCIe 3.0 lanes. X570 comes with 16 PCIe 4.0 lanes, and a Ryzen 3rd generation CPU itself adds another 20 PCIe 4.0 lanes. Older AMD AM4 platforms like X470 supports 28 PCIe 3.0 lanes, meanwhile, B450 motherboards only have access to 24 PCIe 3.0 lanes. The A32 chipset is the only one that doesn't support overclocking Ryzen CPUs, but honestly, you'd be better off spending a little more on a B450 or B350 motherboard instead. Let us know in the comments which model works for you the best and why. Thank you for watching the video, and that is all for this one. If you find this video helpful in any way, give a huge thumbs up, stay tuned for the upcoming videos by subscribing to our channel. Hope to see you in the next video. Till next time, see you guys later.